Army National Guard Staff Sergeant Amy S. Gould for that wonderful rendition of the national anthem.
And welcome everybody to this very special report on the first day of 2015, the swearing in of the Governor of the great state of Michigan, Rick Snyder. I'm Chris Holman. I'm with the Michigan Business Network, the CEO, and I'm here with the lovely Calley Rossman McKinney. And Calley, it's so good to spend time with you here from the, of course, Truscott Rossman Group with offices in Grand Rapids, Lansing.
Thank you. Let's go to the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Snyder kids.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we just heard the Snyder kids, Rick Snyder's children, lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Just prior to that was Michigan National Guardsman Amy Gould, who sang the national anthem just before we kicked off. Chris, this is a wonderful program that's a cooperative effort by the commercial and public radio and TV stations across Michigan as a community service. And now Detroit's Mayor Mike Duggan has just introduced Pastor Lawrence Glass Jr.
We pause in this moment to invite and invoke your presence. How awesome you are. Just as this state shapes the form of a hand, we recognize as your hand has kept us thus far. We celebrate your decisions and your choices. We come now to swear in these leaders, our governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general, all our educational leaders, our chief justice and judges of appeal. We come, oh God, asking you to be a part and to bless all that they do and all that we do today. Give them wisdom beyond their years, peace beyond their understanding. Give them courage beyond their challenges and resolve beyond their challenge. That, oh God, your will might be done, that we may celebrate you and celebrate what they do during their term. Now, God, we pause in a moment to give thanks for all of the troops and all of the soldiers, the men and women abroad that are fighting for our great country. We ask your blessings upon Chief Justice Robert Young as he leads us forth. It is in your son's name we do pray and we do give thanks. And all the people said amen.
Amen.
And of course, next up.
Thank you, Pastor. And you can be seated at this point. Please welcome Michigan Supreme Court Chief Justice Robert Young, Jr. to give the oath of office. Chief Justice.
Thank you. Governor, your family come forward. Now, Justice Roberts messed this up. I've got it right. Raise your right hand. State your name.
Rick Snyder.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States?
I do.
Okay, well, let me read it all then. I'll do it this way.
Okay.
Rick Snyder, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of governor according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That one worked a lot better.
That worked great. Thank you.
Pretty loud. Lieutenant Governor. Raise your right hand.
You know, not that
Do you
anyone.
solemnly swear
do
that
that.
you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of office of Lieutenant Governor according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Secretary of State.
This Bible is my grandfather's 1911, Sunday school.
Raise your right hand.
And now federal judge Thomas Ludington, U.S. District Court, has stepped up and he is swearing in Attorney General Bill Schuette.
Actually, we're just finishing up with the Ruth Johnson swearing in by Chief Justice Young, and then we'll be going to the federal judge Thomas Ludington.
As you
who will
know.
be
Okay, so that was Ruth Johnson that just finished. There you go.
Yep,
And,
yep.
and now federal judge
Yeah,
Tom
and-
Ludington,
and
U.S.
Tom
District
Ludington-
Judge. He's going to be stepping up. He's going to be swearing in a longtime friend of his, actually, Attorney General Bill Schuette.
Yeah, Chris, and actually, Attorney General Bill Schuette is from Michigan, from Midland, Michigan. He has had a long career in government, as both of us know. He served in Congress. He served in the state Senate. He was the head of the Michigan Department of Agriculture under Governor John Engler, and he was a state court of appeals judge. This is his second term as Michigan's Attorney General, now taking the oath of office.
That I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America
The Constitution of the great state of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the great state of Michigan,
and that I will perform the duties of the office of the Attorney General
and I will perform the office of the duties of Attorney General, the duties of the office of the Attorney General,
to the best of your ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right.
It's cold. That's what happens when you bring in hired help.
And that was Chief Justice Young making a comment about the somewhat cumbersome swearing in of Bill Schuette. Let's hope his second term in office is a little smoother than his oath of office.
Not everything goes perfectly.
Exactly. Now we've got Chief Justice Young who's swearing in a number of folks, including members of the State Board of Education and trustees of Michigan State University, the University of Michigan, and my alma mater, Wayne State University. Additionally, there are some rather well-known folks being sworn in on these boards today, as you well know, my
Well,
friend.
that's right. As a matter of fact, former MSU football coach George Perlis, he was elected an 8-year term on the board of his alma mater in November, and this was his first campaign for public office.
And following him, well, actually included in the swearing in is Melanie Foster on the MSU board. She's actually returning to the board after being first elected in 2004. She served as vice chair when she was on the board, and she's also been on the MSU Foundation board for the past 4 years. Interestingly, she had a really tough race. She did not know until the day after Election Day that she had won her seat in office as one of MSU's trustees.
Yeah, a few of them got a little crazy there. You know, history is going to be made as Chief Justice later swears in 40-year-old Justice-elect Richard Bernstein. He is the first blind person to run for statewide judicial office in our state and the first completely blind candidate in the United States to win election to the state Supreme Court. Bernstein won using the slogan, "Justice should be blind."
So much for the
And you know what's amazing about the new Justice Bernstein is not only is he one of the youngest members of the bench, but he has begun working to serve as justice since the day after election. He's had his assistant read him documents every single day to get ready to serve.
You know, this is a Bernstein family affair here today, as a matter of fact. And, you know, it's a very hardworking family. And they've had a very successful business as well.
It really is. And actually, we now have all three justices, Viviano, Zara, and Bernstein, taking the oath of office from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Bob Young, who's shown a tremendous sense of humor today.
I got to tell you, somebody's been working on his stand-up. He's got a career.
The Constitution of this state and you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court according to the best of your ability, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Richard.
David?
Thank you so much.
David? Congratulations. Congratulations, Richard.
Thank you.
Here's your card. Here's your oath.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Court of Appeals. Handwriting's getting worse.
That's okay.
Okay, now raise your right hand. You know the drill. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Judge of the Michigan Court of Appeals according to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Congratulations. 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 Wait a minute.
Thank
You
you.
got one. You don't get two.
No, I just
Thank
Thank you, sir.
That ends my responsibility today. The legal part is over.
Thank you, Chief Justice, and let's have a big hand for all the newly elected officials. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 48th Governor of the State of Michigan, Rick Snyder.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Happy New Year. And I know we're a hearty stock here in Michigan, but for the cold people out there and for the Michigan State fans, I will try to be brief. I want to begin by thanking a number of people, though, for being here today. I want to start with thanking Mayor Duggan for doing this. Thank you, Mayor, for your cooperation, friendship, and partnership. I want to thank Pastor Glass for being here today to represent the clergy in an outstanding invocation. Thank you, Pastor Glass. I'm proud that we have representation from our federal delegation here, and I want to recognize Senator Debbie Stabenow. Senator. I also want to recognize Congressman Tim Walberg. Congressman. And I want to recognize two partners in the legislature, the Michigan legislature, that are on the dais, and I also want to send my best and congratulations to all the members of the legislature here. In particular, I want to recognize Speaker-elect Cotter and incoming Senate Majority-elect Arlen Meekoff. Thank you for both being here. I also want to say thank you to Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley, who's been my partner these last 4 years, for a wonderful partnership that I look to see that continue and grow. Thank you, Brian. I also want to thank the Chief Justice for his outstanding work doing the oaths of office, because it made it one of the more entertaining inaugurals in Michigan history. Thank you. Well done. And very importantly, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to my family, my wife Sue, and the children, and all the family members here for your outstanding support over the last 4 years and for the next 4 years. Thank you so much for your love and support. Let me start by drawing a contrast to 4 years ago. If you look, over the last 4 years, we've created over 300,000 private sector jobs in the state of Michigan. In December of 2010, our unemployment rate was 11.3%. It was just recently announced our unemployment rate is 6.7%, a 40% drop in the last 4 years. We have more work to be done, but Michiganders are working again and in good, well-paying jobs. If you look at other opportunities in our state, one of the things I'm proudest of is look at the city of Detroit. We have a city that has now less debt. We have a city that's safer, and we have a city that's got better services. And I want to, again, thank the partnership with the mayor and then all the outstanding work with the Grand Bargain It's great to have Judge Rosen, one of the federal mediators, the chief mediator here. It was outstanding work, and Detroit has a bright future, and I'm committed to supporting the city in achieving that goal. So thank you. Quite often I talk about economic things, but I think it's important to recognize the good things we've done for the people of the state of Michigan, particularly people in need. One of the proud things that we see as a contrast to 4 years ago, that we've done an outstanding investment in preschool education in the state of Michigan to make it so every Michigan child will have the opportunity to have a preschool education, and we're leading the nation in our investment in our young. In terms of children in our state, foster children in particular, I remember in December, right before I took office last time, we actually had to go to federal court to ask not to be held in contempt of court by a federal court for the entire state of Michigan on how we dealt with our foster children. I'm proud to report today, because of outstanding work, that the adoption rate in the state of Michigan is up 25 percentage points, and we're now supporting young foster kids in higher education. We've gone from being the bottom to being a leader, and we should be proud of that for helping those in need. For our senior citizens, again, a case of partnership. Where we were behind, we were at the bottom again. I want to thank the members of the Silver Key Coalition for outstanding work this last year, that we're making Michigan a no-wait state for in-home services so we can give greater independence and support to our seniors. They deserve it. And I want to recognize our veterans, and I want to thank all the military for participating in the inaugural ceremony today. We owe all of you a thank you, and we can never say that enough for the outstanding service you've provided and are providing to us to keep us safe. And I want to say thank you to each and every veteran and military member here, and we are not letting you down. Before we took office, in fact, we had rankings of being 53rd in terms of how we helped our veterans in certain categories. Over the last 4 years now, we've seen over a 20% increase in the average benefits veterans are getting in the state of Michigan. And we are now leading the country with services such as 1-800-MICH-VETS, a cutting-edge way where we can give 24/7, 365-day service to our veterans. You deserve that, and we're going to keep up supporting our veterans. With that, I also want to give recognition to all the law enforcement and first responders in our state. We've seen continuing improvement there in terms of making Michigan a safer state for our citizens, and I want to thank you to all members of the public safety community in our state for your outstanding service. Again, we're showing we can be a leader in the state of Michigan, and we're showing dramatic drops in violent crime in some of the most challenged cities, Detroit, Flint, Pontiac, and Saginaw, among others. So thank you for your service. So the first term was really about solving problems. We had structural problems that had been there for decades, and I'm proud to say we faced those issues. We took them on, and we solved many of them. We didn't solve every single one. We have more work to be done, for example, in transportation. No one still likes our roads, and we have an opportunity to fix that this May. We also need to do more work with our schools and local partners, local government partners, in terms of better accountability and transparency. But I'm proud in the first term, it was about solving problems, and we did it based on 3 simple principles. First, we defined why government exists. When I came to Lansing 4 years ago, too much of Lansing was about spending money. Government is not here to take and spend your money. You work too hard to earn it. We're here to give you efficient, effective, and accountable government, and we've been working to be better at that every single day, and that will continue for the next 4 years. The second principle is government is not the solution to every problem, but we're an important partner. We're an advocate, we're a role model, we're a leader, we're a coordinator, and we understand that role. So in terms of job creation and keeping our young people here, we are focused in on creating the best environment and climate for success and letting free enterprise work and watching more and more jobs come to the state of Michigan. The third principle is one that you knew I could not give this speech without talking about: relentless positive action. 4 years ago, people had no clue as to what I meant when I said relentless positive action. I'm proud to say relentless positive action works. What it is, for those of you that haven't seen it in action, it's not about who gets credit. It's not about fighting. It's not about blame. It's about understanding our role is to work together as a team and to solve problems, to make us a better, stronger state. When you come to an attitude to say, we are not different, we're not here to fight, we're not here to blame, you can get a lot done. Let's keep that spirit going for the next 4 years, and I'm proud to say I am going to continue to be a believer and advocate for relentless positive action. The second term, what to look forward to. As I said, we had to deal with huge problems. We were a broken state. We're a state that's a comeback state now, a state that's growing, that's thriving. But we have more work to be done. Now is the time to focus in on innovation, to be forward-looking, to say, in terms of supporting our citizens, we can show true leadership throughout the nation in terms of the most innovative, creative, best ways to do things. And we're going to stay on that path. Key priorities that are out there. One huge national problem we have is we don't have enough people going into the skilled trades, and we need to improve career tech education in our country. My commitment to you is we are going to be focused on being #1 in the country in developing and bringing back the skilled trades as an honorable career path with great opportunity, and making career tech education a priority in terms of creating opportunities for tens of thousands of Michiganders to have a great, well-paying career, have a great family. Let's lead the nation in career tech education and the skilled trades. We are going to continue to be one of the most appealing places to do business. Again, we were at the bottom 4 years ago. One number that stood out in the last few years, that was recently published, was the Entrepreneurial Climate Index. In 2008, we were ranked 41st in the country. In 2013, we were ranked #6. My answer to you is 6 isn't good enough. We got 5 more spots to work on. In terms of good government, we need to continue the path that we've been on these last 4 years. It's been truly impressive, and I want to thank my partners in the legislature, all the teamwork, to say we've had 4 years of balanced budgets, the fastest in the last 30 years. We've removed over $20 billion of liabilities from our long-term debt, and we have a payment plan. And you've heard me say this before, if you want a really cool job in the future of the state of Michigan, run for governor in 2038. Our debt's going to be paid down. Let's keep that payment plan going. Let's keep that level of responsibility going, because our citizens deserve it. Again, you work too hard. We're here to support you. In terms of human services and the people of Michigan, though, the second term, we have an outstanding opportunity that I'm wanting to talk about a glimpse of it today. In the state of the state, I'm going to talk much more. If you look at the history of government in our country, over the last few decades, what we've done is continue to add more and more programs on top of programs. If you go to children's services, there's over 70 programs. If you look at workforce investment, there's over 40 programs. It is time to reevaluate and do it a smarter way. It's not about taking citizens, hardworking people, and slicing and dicing you into multiple programs. It's about recognizing you're a human, you're a person, and you should be treated that way. So we're reevaluating the entire way government supports people in terms of services. And we are going to move from prescriptive programs that take you into pieces and step back and say there's a better way. You're to be treated as a whole person with respect. And how do we understand your issues? How do we help you not just maintain a status of difficulty, but how do we get you in the mainstream, the river of opportunity, so we can create a path of success for all Michiganders? We shouldn't leave anyone behind. And we're going to lead in the country in showing we can reverse the trend of the rest of the country and get back to treating you as real people. You deserve it. Let me draw another contrast with 4 years ago, though. It's even more meaningful. The first contrasts I drew were all factual contrasts. They were about facts that had changed. We've done many great things in terms of accomplishments over the last 4 years. but I view the most important one isn't about changing any law or changing any regulation or simply looking at some fact. The most important thing we're doing in Michigan is changing our culture, how we treat one another. One line I had from my initial inaugural address that I really truly believed needed to be shared is that the old unbelievable needs to be the new achievable. If you've looked at what's happened over the last 4 years, look at many of the things we've taken on, whether it be balancing a budget, the city of Detroit, or many of these other issues. They were believed to be the old unbelievable. We have proven they are the new achievable. Let's continue to build on that legacy and see that grow. One even larger than that, though, that I would share with you is Michigan's future is about us being less divisive and more inclusive, continuing to work better together as Michiganders. We've seen tremendous success. If you go back to the lost decade, we did that to ourselves because we were so successful, we took our eye off of the ball and how we build it by working together and spent a decade fighting and blaming one another. With relentless positive action, we've turned that around, where now we recognize success is based on us understanding while we may be different, there is common ground there and we can do special things. We can do incredible things when we do them together. Look at what we've done in Detroit by the grand bargain, the partnership of bringing a great city in terms of new opportunities. There are so many places to do this. It applies whether you're talking the east side of Michigan versus the west side, the north versus the south, so many different places. We are moving beyond that. And I want to compliment so many people here for having the courage to recognize, don't waste time fighting and blaming. Let's talk about how we can build great things together. Detroit is a great illustration, but I thought I would share one quick story with you from the Upper Peninsula. Earlier this year, I had a meeting start where people from Marquette and Escanaba came into the meeting to jointly talk to me about their issues. I started the meeting before they even had a chance to start talking by wishing them the best and saying thank you. Because for decades and decades, they wouldn't have come to that same meeting together. They would have had to have their own meeting. But just by showing up together, I told them I was going to work extra hard to help them because they were showing the spirit of the new Michigan. Let's keep that spirit going. Let's show how we can do these special things. And on one fun note, in the interest of doing that, I want to recognize, and I'm going to give a shout out. So here's a big go green to winning a game today to show how we can all work together. I will share with you my own personal concern about doing that was not the fact that I'm now on the record with the go green. I'm only concerned that the media may make that the only headline of this entire speech. So I hope some other part of the speech makes it also. But if you think about it, that simple statement that I just made, isn't that how we should work together? That's what this is all about, folks. And I'm honored to be your governor. When I reflected back to 4 years ago, I would say that inaugural was more exciting from a personal note. This inaugural to me, though, is more rewarding because it shows that we've made it happen, but we've got more work to be done. And those of you that ask the question, am I a lame duck now? Am I slowing down? Am I going to work less hard? You don't know me. In fact, my answer to you is, as we've solved these problems, now is time to step on the accelerator. Now is the time to say, Michigan is building a foundation to be a great state. In 4 years from now, there'll be someone else standing at this lectern giving a speech. What I'll tell you is, when I reflect 4 years from now, I'll go back to the same two questions that I said when I was campaigning that I hope people look at my service to the state. One, did I do what I said I was going to do? Said it, did it. I'm proud of the track record so far. The second thing is did we build a long-term legacy of success that had nothing to do with Rick Snyder ever being governor of this state? This isn't about me. This is about building that foundation. Because in 4 years from now, 8 years, 12 years, and in the future, I want better, smarter people standing here, building on a foundation that we did together to show that we can be a great state again and that they won't have to deal with those historical problems. We would have dealt with them. We didn't walk away from any of them. We solved them, and we built a foundation for these young people to have a bright future for the state of Michigan. Thank you so much, and God bless the state of Michigan and the United States of America.
Well, and as you might expect, he laid out his message very pragmatically. He talked to the scorecard for last
Now,
4 years
please
and is moving into the next 4. I'm sure we'll hear more details on January 20th at the State of the State.
That's right. And actually, Mike Duggan is just introduced Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley, who, for those of you who may have noticed, had his daughter on his lap during Governor Snyder's speech. Lieutenant Governor Calley is one of the youngest serving as Lieutenant Governor. This is Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley giving his inaugural address.
Meaning to my life, and I would be lost without you. 4 years ago, a new day was dawning on a very weary state. An entire generation had grown up knowing only a Michigan in decline. The state that invented the American middle class was reeling and shrinking. The people of Michigan took a chance on an accountant and an entrepreneur. He had never before held a political office. When others saw problems too big and divisive for a broken political system to handle, he saw opportunities to prove to the world that Michigan's best days were yet ahead. Today, Michigan is on the rise with jobs, with income, with home values, with population, but most importantly, hope is on the rise again. We can now see a better and stronger future for our children and our grandchildren. We can imagine them making a life and building a family here because opportunity is being restored. We honor our past, but we do not cling to it as before. Instead, we embrace the future for all that it can be. The Michigan story is and always has been about the potential of its people, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations will set our best course forward. Let us, those who are entrusted with constitutional offices, seek the wisdom of God Almighty and the promise of our people as we move toward a future defined only by the limitless potential of the people who call Michigan home. May God forever bless Michigan.
And, of course, Secretary of State Ruth Johnson will be addressing the crowd now. Secretary Johnson's made some huge strides in streamlining operations, improving customer service, and safeguarding election integrity through technology and common sense.
And she's coming up right now, but I have to say, I have such a mom crush on Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley. He is the most wonderful young man. I just got to say that, and now we can go to Secretary of State Johnson.
Would do this.
But not our spirit. You sent new leaders to Lansing to make hard decisions with relentless positive action. And things started to change for the better. We started to believe in ourselves. You reminded the world what we're made of. That's who we need to celebrate today, you, the people of Michigan. We're the state of problem solvers, innovators, leaders. It was our state that put the world on wheels. That legacy includes people like my dad, an immigrant who never got a high school diploma, but worked his way up to foreman. And my mom, who's here today, wave, Mom. And my mom, who's here today, Jenny, who once painted dashboards as they came down the line. Like our ancestors, we're survivors, fighters as strong as the steel that runs through our factories and as innovative as the technology rolling off our production lines. In my office, we've proven that government can listen, change, and work better, faster, smarter, and more efficiently with less. We tripled our online services at Express SOS with print and go technology, already saving 1 million people from having to come to our offices. We began an appointment system in our busiest branches. We're helping our 680,000 veterans who we can never thank enough. We're the #1 in the nation at getting people registered to vote and at the same time standing strong for election integrity. We've added record-breaking numbers of the people to the Michigan Organ Donor Registry. And if you're one of those people or planning to be, thank you. But we're not done yet. We'll continue to improve customer service. We'll expand our fight against fraud to help stop it in its tracks. I'd like to thank my great Secretary of State team for a job well done. I'd also like to thank my husband, Don, my mom, Jenny, my daughter, Emily, who couldn't be here today, my sister, Ina, and my brother, Norm, family, friends, and supporters for everything. I want to be part of keeping Michigan moving forward, to represent our values, to tell our success story, and work where I'm needed most. That's my passion. Henry Ford once said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. But working together is success." It's my hope that all of us, at times strong in our differences, but sharing the same love of family, of state and country, will come together like never before so that we all may enjoy a better tomorrow. Thank you, and bless you each.
And please welcome Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette.
I heard that. Governor Snyder, Sue and family, Lieutenant Governor Calley, Julie and family, Secretary Johnson, Don and family, distinguished guests and leaders, Mayor Mike Duggan, my great friend Judge Tom Ludington that helped me get my oath correct. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that. And all the families of Michigan that come in every shape and size and color, Happy New Year. I would not be standing here for a second time without the love and support of my family, our daughter Heidi, our son Bill, and my wife Cynthia. I love you all very much. I am grateful and honored to serve as Attorney General of Michigan. And as our state's chief law enforcement officer, I would ask us all to bow our heads and observe a brief moment of silence to honor public safety officers who died in the line of duty in 2014. Thank you. These heroes made the ultimate sacrifice, and we owe it to them and to their families to make Michigan a better, stronger, and safer state in every neighborhood for all our citizens. 4 years ago, on this very same day, our team started fresh with a new beginning for Michigan. And during this past term of service, I have listened to many voices of Michigan, voices of brave and proud and strong women and men, like Leslie King, fighting human trafficking, Kimberly Schmina, helping victims of sexual assault, Linda Niehazel, Amy O'Rourke, Diane Philpott, whose husbands, police officers, died in the line of duty, Penny LaPerriere, whose husband was a victim of fungal meningitis, Greg Trozak, George Braxton, Royce Hill, good, hard-working cops in Detroit, simply doing their job, whose pensions were jeopardized in the Detroit bankruptcy. These people and voices throughout Michigan expect us to provide solutions and solve problems to build Michigan's tomorrows. Now, it's written that through wisdom is a house built, and by understanding it is established. Our tomorrows, Michigan's tomorrows, must be built on a foundation of wisdom and understanding. And Michigan's future, Michigan's tomorrows must be forged from big thinking, big goals, and big opportunity. A hope-filled Michigan for all our citizens. I believe that Michigan's best days, Michigan's tomorrows, are just ahead, just around the corner. And I believe that Michigan's tomorrows will be better, stronger, and safer for all the hardworking men and women who make our great state wonderful. Thank you, and may God bless the state of Michigan. Thank you very much. Good morning.
No question, Mr. Attorney General. A lot of people lost the bet on the under there.
And that was, for those of you who didn't catch the humor, our Attorney General is not known for his brevity. That was Attorney General Bill Shooting. You know, the remarks have been noticeably quick today. I think it has a lot to do with the weather and other elements.
We are running now to also Pastor Lawrence Glass Jr. of El Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit to do the closing prayer.
All of our elected officials and all who have been selected to serve. Help us to remember the shoulders upon which we stand and the responsibility and accountability to which we will be held before you and others. Go with us now, dismiss us from this place, never from your presence. Now unto him that is able to present you faultless before his presence with exceeding joy. Be glory and honor, majesty and dominion, both now and forever. And the people of faith said amen, amen, and amen.
At this point, I'd like to ask the Michigan National Guard Color Guard to please come forward and retire the colors. Please rise. All right, this concludes today's ceremony. Please join the governor and the elected officials inside in the second floor of the Capitol for a very warm reception. Thank you.
And you know, the key word was warm reception. I just want to.
We'll be there in a few minutes, of course. Let me just say, as someone who's been to several inaugurals over the years, that is by far the shortest I've ever attended, and it was quite boisterous. Chief Justice Robert Young did a wonderful job executing the oaths of office.
You know, you're absolutely right, and I think one of the things I enjoyed most, I mean, this was kind of, excuse the phrase, a passage to manhood being out here today in these conditions. It was pretty brisk, and everybody did shorten up a little bit, but there was a levity here that I haven't seen before, and there was a comfort here that I hadn't seen before, and there were people on the stage, the governor in particular, who really were taking the time to say, you know, this is a great ceremony, but we're all working people, and we've got jobs ahead of us.
Well, let me just give a shout out to a longtime University of Michigan fan, Governor Snyder, who gave a shout out to the Spartans, who will be playing actually probably right now.
And his prediction is that's tomorrow's headline, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, the governor said last time, his first inaugural, it was a very exciting moment for him. This time it is rewarding, and he really outlined some very important things for the state of Michigan. He said that the state will, in fact, continue to be the comeback state, that his focus will be on innovation and making Michigan the #1 entrepreneurial state, but also the go-to state for career tech.
Well, let me throw something out there. And the report card he was talking about is the entrepreneurial scorecard.
That would be your scorecard, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm one of them. I'm part of them. This one in particular was the Small Business Association of Michigan Foundation that puts this out every year, and it ranks us as to how we receive business, how fertile a soil we are for you to come here and plant your entrepreneurial seed. And we were terrible in 2006, 2007, 2008, all those.
We were 41st, I believe.
Unbelievable.
41st, 4 years ago.
47th, if I'm not mistaken.
47th, I wrote it down wrong.
Yeah, that's all right. You just left the top off. But now we're moving, like he said, into the top 6, and that's pretty incredible progress. And I saw that all happen at the national level, where people were, you know, when I was first introduced as from Michigan, people were going, "Oh, sorry," you know, and then I was starting to get calls. What are you guys doing there that's turning your state around so quickly? So he has to feel proud today over what they've done in 4 years.
Well, he should. And, you know, he did another thing today that is really important to note, and that is, once again, he had the mayor of Detroit serve as his master of ceremonies. 4 years ago, then Mayor of Detroit, Dave Bink, was a master of ceremonies. And this year we have Mayor Mike Duggan, but also Pastor Glass from El Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit did the invocation and the benediction. And the shout out to Detroit is a wonderful symbol of the commitment to Detroit that this governor has and that this state has. It's wonderful to see.
Well, listen, I grew up in the area, and everything I ever did was in Detroit. Played hockey, baseball, all that stuff. Detroit
everything
was a
you
great.
Ever did?
Well, not that stuff, but it was a great city. I mean, it really was, and I remember that greatness and how it went away, and it is starting to become a great city again. So we're really pleased with the progress we're making. You know, we might do something here that might be entertaining, and that is, let's take a little look at Governor Snyder's first inaugural speech in 2011.
I, Richard D. Snyder,
I, Brian Calley,
I, Bill Schuette,
I, Ruth Johnson,
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of this state,
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Governor,
of the office of Lieutenant Governor,
Secretary of State,
of Attorney General,
member of the State Board of Education,
Justice of the Supreme Court,
of the office of Judge of the Court of Appeals.
in and for the state of Michigan, to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and best wishes.
We look forward to working with our new governor, Rick Snyder, to reinvent Michigan.
Confident in our collective ability and inspired to serve.
And thank you to all of you for being a part of this today, on the first day of a new decade.
a fresh start for Michigan.
We need to put party and geography aside. It is time to stop fighting among ourselves. It is time to solve problems and to create opportunities.
Are there obstacles? Yes, but it can be done.
We have world-class assets to build upon. Our natural resources, our universities, our manufacturing and industrial base.
We have the people, the innovators, the entrepreneurs to bring about a new era in Michigan.
Our legacy will be found in the future. We will be a globally competitive leader in innovation. We will create more and better jobs. We will create a bright future for our young people. We will do this together and not leave some behind.
Today, standing here on the east steps of the Capitol, we have the leadership to do what needs to be done.
Let today be the birth of the era of innovation and the reinvention of Michigan. May God bless you in the great state of Michigan.
Well, and Happy New Year is fitting, of course, but that's always a great time to reflect on things, and seeing that little video on what happened 4 years ago is pretty cool. But no big surprises. He alluded to it today. He is dogged and relentless, as he says.
Well, you know, it's interesting you use the word dogged, because he talks about action in dog years. You know, when he first took office, we laughed over and over and over again as he talked about getting things done in dog years. He talked about relentless positive action, and now he says he's no lame duck, that he is going to work just as hard in the next 4 years as he did in the first 4 years. He says that Michigan will in fact be relentless, resilient, reinvented, and he is so proud of not just the accomplishments but the path for the next 4 years.
I'm personally glad he's stuck in that R mode, because he's got a lot of things going on. He really is. And you know, if I could for just a second, I always hate to fall back into my bailiwick of business, but when you look at what the state of Michigan, the dire straits they were in when he first took office, and the fact that we had debt piling up, and that we borrowed at an incredibly high interest rate because our bond rating was so bad, and all these little things you see behind the scenes, you know. This is a case of a guy who buys a new house and doesn't paint it first, but fixes the plumbing and fixes the electrical.
Well, you know, and actually, he also talked about some of the important things that he did that really helped business long term, and that is early education for kids and the education for foster kids. He's very, very proud of his accomplishments, not just in the traditional Republican mode of sort of business and the economy, but also those arenas that tend to be sort of held dear to the hearts of Democrats, human services, children, early education. And in fact, he didn't really, I don't think, talked about his effort to expand Medicaid here in Michigan, which is a huge step. He's really positioned himself as quite a moderate governor for the state of Michigan.
Well, and you know, it took a lot of knocks, and a lot of them inaccurate knocks over education, and nobody is more educationally oriented than this guy. You know, the governor is an incredibly bright guy. He got through high school in record time, got his degree at University of Michigan in record time. He knows about the value of education. On that note, I was particularly happy to hear him step up and say, Votech. Yeah. Let's get back to training people. You know, we could put 1,000 CNC operators and welders to work today if we had them.
You know, I wouldn't mind having a welding tool right now with a little flame.
At least stand near the machine, right?
You know, I should also point out Lieutenant Governor Calley and Governor Snyder both had their children on the stage with them. You know, Lieutenant Governor Calley's kids are very young, Reagan, Carmody, and Colin. And then Governor Snyder's children, Melissa, Jeff, and Kelsey, and both wives, Sue Snyder and Julie Calley. Really was quite a family affair today, and very, very nice to see.
And you know, I was glad they both gave shout-outs to their brides, because, quite frankly, this governor's job and lieutenant governor's job and all the jobs in public service are not easy, and it takes that support at home. And when the job gets cumbersome for the support system, it gets more cumbersome for the person doing the job.
But that's a really good point. And, actually, they were talking a little bit about social media. Mike Duggan talked about that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, we actually caught it on camera. Lieutenant Governor Calley took a picture from his phone and I'm sure tweeted it. So you know how much fun. He's one of the most tweeting officials.
One of
I
the
think
tweetest
that-
guys we know.
And very funny. Last but not least, let me just point out that there's one last thing the governor reminded folks, and that is that in May there will be an election. The folks will have an opportunity to deal with both transportation funding and increased funding for education.
there's a lot
and
of work.
Return of the early income
There's
tax
a lot
credit.
of work ahead to do. You're right. Well,
The-
Kelly, that pretty much wraps it up for things here today. It's been a pleasure, as always, sharing the mic and the time with you.
I've had an absolute blast, Chris. Thank you so much, and
From all of us, have a very happy new year
Happy New Year.
and a prosperous
prosperous one.
2015.
Thank you so much.